This is the Vegas Huddle with Mike Davis.
What's up, guys? Welcome inside the Vegas Huddle. I'm your host, Mike Davis. Today, we have one of my childhood heroes with us, the great Tracy McGrady, T-Mac, a seven-time NBA All-Star, seven-time All-NBA, a Hall of Famer. I mean, T-Mac, to be here, it's so exciting to have you. You just came on more with us. Now we're going to dive deep into so much about you and your life. But let's start with the hat that you got. OBL, One's Basketball League. There's a big documentary series coming out on Showtime. It's called Bonded by Ball. It's all about the first season, the inaugural season of this OBL that you founded. And, Tracy, you kind of draw the parallels to how being in high school, you ended up becoming a McDonald's All-American. You were Mr. North Carolina. You were USA Today Basketball Player of the Year. So you had all the accolades. But when you move from Florida to North Carolina to Mount Zion, your whole life kind of changed that season, but a lot of it sparked with Sonny Vaccaro and ABCD and that camp. Tell us the parallels between that and what you're trying and striving to do with OBL.
Yeah, of course. So grew up in Central Florida, was, doing my thing in high school basketball, get to my junior year, considered one of the top players around my county, around my region. And just the exposure outside of that is just not there for me. We had all these magazines, high school phenoms, and I'm looking at and reading about all these players, and I felt like that I had this type of potential to be mentioned with these guys that I'm reading about. Through the grace of God, this guy came to my high school. I was playing spring football at the time.
Oh, really?
My first year playing football in high school. And reason I went out because we were going to have a phenomenal team. Like all of my friends, we talked that summer, like, yo, we all playing football. So playing spring football, and I have this guy come down to my school, and he tells me in order for me, to receive this opportunity that he has for me, I have to stop playing football. And he was like, I want to invite you to the ABCD camp, not knowing what that is.
Right.
And he gave me the details about it. He started running off some of the guys' names that I heard about, started reading about. And then, I go to this camp because I was the last guy to enter this camp. And I'm hearing about Lamar Odom and a couple more guys, and Lamar Odom, 6'10" point guard. And at that time, if you're the tallest guy back in them days, you tallest guy on your team.
Right.
Like, they made you the center. But this guy was a point guard at 6'10". I was like, oh, my goodness. So he was the first guy I played at this camp. And I had nothing to lose. I went into this camp, it's like, this is my shot, this is my opportunity. And I played well. And I continued to play well. So much that I ended up making an all-star game in that camp and had one of the most, iconic slams of the camp when I windmilled on a kid. And, everybody, like the stands just went crazy. People running on the basketball court. You had pro scouts. You had college coaches in there. You had college players. And then the campers. Like, it was pandemonium when I did this dunk. So, from that point on, it just really put me on the map. And in essence, I went to Mount Zion and became the number one player in the country. But, I go back to my days in Arbondale, Florida, in Central Florida, where, I wasn't really known outside of that. But that platform of ABCD gave me the exposure that, I felt that, I deserved to be on. And I showed that. And it propelled me to, what I really became is the best player in high school basketball at that time. So, the parallel to OBL is there's a lot of guys out here that have a unique skill set. And you got to be wired differently to play one-on-one basketball because it's just you on an island by yourself. And, the ability to play that is you got to be mentally strong, mentally tough to compete in one-on-one basketball. There's a lot of guys out there that, can't play 5-on-5 because of, let's say you're a skilled guy.
Yeah.
And you're training every single day for 2.5 hours with your trainer working on your skills.
Yeah.
But then you go and play for your team who you play for. Your coach puts you in a role, and your role is for you to just sit in the corner, right? You didn't work on that. That's
Right.
you know, you're a guy with a unique skill set, and you can't really display that because you're in a role. Well,
And of course, I mean, we see this like, a Michael Redd on the Bucks.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a great player. He was an all-star, but he's sitting in the corner waiting for that shot. He can't really create his own shot. And, what we see in the NBA, especially once we get in deep into the playoffs, it's you got to be able to score against their best defender. That's basically what happens. And, in the era you were playing, guys like Kobe, you, Melo, AI, those are guys who really they wanted that opportunity to go one-on-one. So tell us, for people like me who didn't play college basketball, who didn't play in the NBA, didn't do anything like that, but knows about the game, do average fans like me actually, is it true that one-on-one is a big component of the NBA game? Does it really look like that?
One-on-one basketball it actually takes place in 5-on-5 basketball. There's one-on-one matchups in the NBA. You guys just don't see it like that. If I am a rebounder for my team, or if I'm a defensive player for my team, my assignment is to stop this guy that's an offensive, prolific offensive scorer. So that is my job. That's my battle. That's my in-game battle. Or if this guy on the other team is a great rebounder, or Ben Wallace, my job is to keep him off the offensive glass. And those battles that no one really sees. It's a game within a game. But when it comes down to getting buckets, you got a T-Mac, you got a Kobe. You realize that's a one-on-one battle.
And
right?
I don't think people realize your skill set. I mean, there's a lot of high flyers. Sure, you were a high flyer, but you could shoot. You had the mid-range game. You had the three-point game. You had the whole you had every skill set you would want to have in a basketball player. But when you're drafted 9th overall, you go to the Raptors, and you're very upfront and honest about, your experience. You kind of described your rookie season as hell, and it was a tough adjustment. Tell us a little bit about, how you were able to persevere, because I think I look back a lot to your life and your grandmother and your mother raising you. They must have instilled so many good qualities in you as a young man, because that's what's so hard. Once you're McDonald's All-American, once you're USA Today Player of the Year, once you're, a #1 Mr. Basketball in North Carolina, that doesn't mean shit.
Right.
It's nothing. Right. You still got to do all your stuff to get to the point where you're a Hall of Famer in the NBA. So when you go to the Raptors 9th overall,
that's wiped out.
It's all wiped out. So how do you have the mentality and that? Because I think a lot of young guys don't understand that transition. So how did you succeed during that transition, even when you describe it as hell?
I'm a patient individual. Even when things are tough, I really just sit back. I have patience, and I just like to take the time to just try to figure it out and dissect, what is it that I'm in right now, and how can I get through the bullshit? And that's exactly what happened. And the reason why I have my patience is because I grew up with my grandmother. She raised me, and 6 a.m. in the morning, it's just my grandmother and I on
Let's
a
give
boat.
her a shout. Roberta, right?
Roberta, yeah, Williford. We're on a boat fishing.
Yeah.
On the lake. All my friends are out, during the day playing, having a good time. I'm on the lake with my grandmother, and we're out there from 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening. Like, we're putting in 12 hours. This is on the weekend, right? So that's where my patience come from. And sometimes we'll catch, 25 to 30 fish. Sometimes we'll go out there and catch 5. And you know how long being out on the lake for 12 hours and you only bring in five fish. So that's where my patience really was instilled through my grandmother and just being on the lake with her and bonding with her. And I think, when I got to the Raptors and I was going through a lot of bullshit, that's my patience really was tested, because my coach is criticizing me. I'm 18 years old in a grown man's league, and I'm getting criticized by my head coach, who's supposed to be giving me structure and help me get through this. So what really got me through it is I had a great teammate in Doug Christie.
Really?
And
it was Doug Christie?
Yeah, Doug Christie was a great teammate. And what we did every day, it goes back to one-on-one.
He's an assistant coach now too.
Sacramento Kings.
Yeah.
Shout out to Doug Christie. I always tell this story. Like I'm forever like.
And he was one of those. What's cool about the NBA and team sports is he didn't have the gifted abilities you had, but he was a difference maker.
Yeah, he was a difference maker because he was a defensive specialist.
Yeah,
if you will. So I took upon myself, me and Doug, to play one-on-one basketball after practice every day. And that's how, I sharpened my skills mentally, physically. It really helped me out a lot my rookie season when I was frustrated. But, man.
That's big. It's like mano-a-mano. It's the attribute or the internal quality that it takes to be good at one-on-one. What is it? It's like you have the same thing that Kobe had. It was that killer instinct. It's the stuff
we showed it a different way.
How would you what's the terminology or the phrase or the word you would use to describe that?
I think it's all just mental fortitude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to have that mental toughness. And you got to have some craziness about you. Like, you can't give a shit.
So do you think the mental fortitude, because this is when you get to the league, right, the abilities you had, a lot of players like Doug Christie, people don't have those things. But if you had to build the perfect basketball player, and you were going to give them a quality, would it be mental fortitude or would it be the abilities? Because I think a lot of times we get the hype from guys coming into the league and nothing ever happens. They don't develop. Like Zion is kind of going through that right now. Like we don't know if Zion is actually going to become a Hall of Famer because it's the fortitude.
And why? Because you just answered your own question. It's because of mental fortitude. It's what it is. You have to be mentally.
But to pair it together.
Right. I'm saying all these guys that come in the NBA, you got to have some ability. You in the freaking NBA, you considered as, one of the best 450 players in the world.
Yeah.
So, but the separation is here.
Yeah.
Right? That is the separation because we have so much being thrown at us for distractions. Now, can you compartmentalize, being a true professional versus all the entertainment that comes with being an NBA player? And that's the challenge. And that's when the mental fortitude come in.
And that's why I've never met you before, but I was a huge fan of yours, obviously, growing up, being born in 92. But when you went on the jump and your broadcaster career got started, I thought, wow, this guy is just so his intellect and his ability to be natural on camera, and you're just a smart dude, and the way that you're, posing all these, mental fortitude concepts, it's really fascinating. And that's why it's obvious and evident why this OBL is going to be a very successful thing that you founded here. So the skill sets from the court, from the hardwood to business, to being a broadcaster, and I'd like you to give me a grade as a broadcaster later too. So we'll figure that out. But, do they translate? Do the skill sets from the hardwood translate to entrepreneurship, to being a broadcaster? That patience and all those qualities, did a lot of those things you think translate into all aspects of your life?
Yes, absolutely. Because you're learning how to be a great teammate and you're learning how to work with people, right? You know the different deficiencies in an individual. You know your guy's strong suit, what they can and they can't do. I mean, I like to, really analyze and really, when I talk about things like that, basketball is always the forefront. Like, you can always use an example because in the business, you have a team. On the basketball court, you have a team. Everybody has a role to play. And it's just, if you're a boss, for me, in order to be a great leader, you got to understand some days you got to be Pippen than being Jordan. You got to know when it's your day. As a best player, every day should be your day, but it doesn't happen like that. If one of your teammates has it going, or or one of your business partners has this great idea, don't shoot it, put it under the rug, sweep it under the rug. Like, hear these guys out and let them do their thing. Let them be great in their own right. And I love, that's what I do with my team at OBL. Like, I am the boss of my team, but I also allow folks to be great in their own right and not to step on anybody.
And we got to remind everybody, so One's Basketball League, it's all about one-on-one basketball. That's the competitive spirit and drive of the sport. You can make sure you go see the docuseries that's going to be on Showtime and Paramount Plus, dropping on July 28th. It's going to be exciting stuff. So, Tracy, to me, I think the fascinating thing is you kept reaching new levels of your career. I mean, you start with the Raptors. First of all, let's set this straight. Is Vince Carter actually your cousin?
Yeah.
Like, if somebody dies, he would be at the funeral?
For sure.
He's an actual cousin.
Yes, that's real.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
No, that's real.
Okay. See, so you're there with him. It gets a little better. You go to the Magic, and that's where, I mean, you explode on the Magic. Let's dial into that Detroit Pistons series for a second. Because as a competitive guy, you're already grinning. I love Doc. I really do. I think he's such a good dude. He was a great broadcaster. You know, he reminds me a lot like you. 3-1. You explode in that first game against the Pistons, 43 points or something.
First two.
In the first two.
Mm-hmm.
You're up 3-1 on the Pistons. You guys lose in a 7-game series. I mean, that could have been the season you guys.
No,
you don't think so? What happened? First of all, what happened?
No. Even if we would have beat them, like we were lucky to even just be in the playoffs. To be honest with you, you got to think with just no Grant Hill. There is a rookie Mike Miller in the starting lineup.
Grant. Who?
Oh, actually, that wasn't Mike Miller's rookie year. That was two rookies. That was Drew Gooden.
Oh, yeah,
rookie.
Yeah.
And that was Gordon Gierczek, who was another rookie.
Oh, okay.
And these two guys that we traded for Mike Miller. But going back to that series, you know, we were the 8th seed. They were the number 1 seed. And, you know, we got up 3-1 on them by running, you know, a 3-1 pick and roll, me and Darryl Armstrong. And we get later in that series, you know, they took that away, and we really didn't make any adjustments. Chauncey Billups got hot later on in that series. He was really just being a facilitator in the beginning, but he realized I got to score in this series. And he put up some big numbers later on in that series. We had no answer for him. And
what is it? You just get tight like in tennis, like Wimbledon's going on. Sometimes when you're up and you're about to win that last game, is it no?
It's not that you get tight. It's just that team was better than us. That's what it was. They went to the Eastern Conference Finals, and the following year they won a championship. So
they were good.
Yeah, they were just better than us.
And all right, and as we're moving throughout your career, you know, the 13 points in 33 seconds against the Spurs or with the Rockets, I mean, that display. I mean, it's like, you know, Monet painting a picture. That was like artistry at its finest. Can you actually feel the sensations of that moment? Can you take yourself back in time? Yeah. What did it feel like? Yeah. It must have felt like the best feeling in the world.
Yeah. It's that, you know, throughout the game, believe it or not, NBA players' confidence it could go up, it could go down. Like, it's ebbs and flow of a game. But your confidence is the same way, right? You might think that we're just this super confident basketball player, but, you know, in the course of a game, a guy can lose his confidence, or confidence can rise to a level that he feels he's the best player on the court. I don't care who he's on the basketball court with. That was one of those moments where, you know, it was just a manifestation of my work that I put in the off season. I mean, because I work hard. And it's the unknown that comes with, you know, players that work extremely hard, and you have the ability to go out and do things like that. You know, it was one of those moments where when I had the 4-point play on Tim Duncan, I knew it was going to be a great finish. And that's why you see on the last 3 that I hit, I wasn't trying to tie the game. I was going for the win because I felt this is the basketball gods gifted me an amazing comeback right now when no one touches this guy, you know, Devin Brown, I think that was his name. No one touches him. He slips and falls, and the ball rolls to me. I just hit 3 threes in a row in a 4-point play, and the ball comes to me when no one touching it. Oh, this ball game is over with. Like that.
You knew it.
I knew it.
And everything that you threw up, it just felt, it was like, what is it, magic? Like, what does it feel like? If you were a poet, how would you describe that feeling?
That was one of those times where you just feel like you just close your eyes and, you know, a pitcher can pitch to you, close your eyes, and you could get a piece of the ball. Like, you just feel that, you know, it's something that just comes over you that it's hard to describe.
I love
that type of feeling.
I love it. And as we're, going to the end point of your career, it's interesting how guys who are at your level and so gifted, some people kind of choose to continue going on. You were in China, you were at the Spurs, you were at the Knicks. What was it like for you? What were the things that you learned during that period of time as you're an older player now in the NBA? What was that like for you?
Yeah, it wasn't good. That's for damn sure.
But was it for pure love of the game? Is that why you're there? Because I respect it.
No, for me, it was I had microfracture surgery on my knee. So it was for me, I was challenging myself to see if I could get back to making an NBA team and, being productive for a team. That was the challenge for me. So it was me having my own challenge. It had nothing to do with the love for the game. It was just, I'm not going to be the same player that I was because I know what that surgery does to a player. But I had to challenge myself to go through a rigorous rehab process to even be pain-free, and that took me 2 years.
Wow.
Right? And, so those last 4 years being on the Knicks, the Pistons, the Hawks, and the Spurs, that was just me, working my butt off to even just try to make an NBA team.
And it's proven, you had nothing else to prove to anybody, but you wanted to prove it to yourself.
Yeah, it was just all about proving to myself. And like I said, it took me 2 years before I was pain-free. That surgery really declined my athleticism tremendously.
It's an interesting thing. Now, as we're wrapping up here, so OBL, One's Basketball League. So in order for this to really take this sport to the whole next level, do we need a player who is the hope that somebody's going to be a champion and it goes throughout these cities? And before we let you go, we got to explain how the whole system works. But is the hope that somebody's going to break through and then make it to the NBA? Is that one of the hopes of OBL?
Well, I wouldn't close that door or wouldn't allow that. I think this is a great opportunity for guys and I'm hoping, guys that play in OBL will be guys that will want to stay in OBL. But if other opportunities present themselves, like we had 5 guys from last season get in G League tryouts.
Oh.
Right? So and that's not us even promoting. Right? This is just off of sheer we hear Dollar Loan Center in Henderson, and we had some NBA personnel that witnessed the game, and it was like, oh, these guys are actually pretty good, right? So
that's great.
Just gave those guys an opportunity to try out for the G League. But, OBL is going to create stars. We're going to create superstars, and these guys are going to be household names on the platform of OBL.
And in a social media heavy world, that one-on-one, fast-paced nature, I think it's almost kind of genius.
It's coming, bro. One-on-one definitely is coming, and it's going to be abroad. I truly believe that, but OBL is going to take it abroad so everyone knows about one-on-one basketball. But, it's my vision and how I see this is growing is like UFC, man. I see, OBL being the UFC of basketball.
I love that. And I remember, there was so many, when I was growing up, and One and Escalade and White Chocolate and all those guys. They really drove the culture.
Could you imagine?
So, this could be the new era of that.
Absolutely.
And I think those guys, the distinction was, it was a lot of flash. The slip and slide, that's a travel. But this is going to be real basketball.
This is real, pure basketball.
Tell us just the rundown of how it works.
So we go to multiple cities. Each city or each region that we go to, we would select. It's like American Idol, to be honest with you.
Really?
We select 32 players from that region. And those 32 players on that Saturday will play 7 games. All players play 7 games. We take the best 8 records from that Saturday. Those 8 guys, then we call it our championship Sunday, will play single elimination to take the top 3 guys from that Sunday to the championship wherever we have the championship.
Wow.
Our first year we had it in Vegas, and our next year we're going to have it in Brooklyn. But we'll take those top 3 guys, and that we do that from each region. The number 1 guy from each region wins $10,000, right? The other 2 guys get the automatic bid to the championship round. We do it again in the championship round, and 1 guy is going to walk away with $250,000.
That's amazing. How many points you got to score to win?
Championship game is to 9.
Gotcha.
On our Saturday games, because they're playing 7 games, they go to 7. So this is tailor made for Gen Zers.
I love it. I
think it's quick and fast.
And the crazy thing is, and I'm not kidding, we could get to the point where our society's going with Gen Zers, millennials. They might opt for this more than other things.
For sure, because it's snackable games, and
right. You
play to 7, right? And it's really like a drama TV series, because each game provides a different drama and it's quick, right? It's quick, games to 7. Oh, it's the next game. Let's get it. It provides a different drama, and that's what I love about it.
We're going to have a rooting interest. We're going to find that guy, that character that we love.
Oh, we have.
Is there somebody in OBL right now who has that AI factor, who has the T-Mac factor, the guy who just has that it factor that's going to be driving home the fanaticism?
Well, we had a influencer who was a trash talker.
I love it.
He was definitely the villain. Wherever he went, he talked so much smack to anybody. He backed it up. He ended up making it to the championship game, weekend, but he didn't advance the way he wanted to. But he was perfect for OBL. He was like my Conor McGregor, just talk shit to everyone.
I love it.
And he backed it up though, but. It's a lot of great personalities, man, that comes through, and that's why this OBL documentary is just so important, so you can know who these guys are. We're telling their stories. It's amazing.
You got to make sure you check out Bonded by Ball. It's a docuseries all about inside the OBL. It's going to be on Paramount Plus and Showtime, streaming July 28th. Also, make sure you check out Goliath, all about Wilt Chamberlain, a great docuseries that's going to be all about him. You really think this 20,000 number is true?
Ooh, I don't. I don't even know how you have that much in you to release.
They talk about it in the series. This is going to be good.
I can't wait. That is insane. Like, you was a lion, bro. You had to be like a lion, in and out. You wasn't lasting 30, 40,
I don't know how.
You was 5 minutes and you was on to the next one.
I don't know. Somebody's got to figure out what that
fast
line is.
Jackrabbit.
But that's Wilt Chamberlain, a Hall of Famer like the great T-Mac, Tracy McGrady.
20,000? I ain't got 20,000 points.
See, I don't know. I think it's a lie. From actually what I heard, to be honest, I did a little research. I think he told a biographer about that.
Yeah.
He came up with it, and the biographer just ran with it.
I don't believe nowhere.
But it could have been 1,000. Could have been,
I think it's over 1,000.
You do?
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I think it's over 1,000.
Real quickly, rapid fire. Just want the first thing that comes to mind. Best coach you ever had?
Jeff Van Gundy.
With the Rockets. Okay. Toughest defender you had to face?
Ron Artest.
Wow. He's coming on our show tomorrow, actually, on more. Okay.
Ron's tough. I love competing against Ron. Loved it.
And real quickly, I mean, just if you had to guess, Victor Wembanyama, from what you're seeing, we talked about it earlier, mental fortitude also with the skill set. Does this guy have it? Is he going to be... People are already putting him in Naismith already.
They need to chill out, man. Let that kid develop.
What do you think, though, in your gut?
I think I just think he'll have a lustrous Hall of Fame career, but I don't think he will be touching the surface or Kobe, LeBron, MJ. I don't think he's going to reach that level.
Gotcha.
But I think he'll have a Hall of Fame career.
All right, there you go. You heard it. T-Mac, Tracy McGrady. It was a pleasure meeting you. Real quick, actually, I do have one last question. Since you were one of my favorite broadcasters with Rachel Nichols on The Jump on ESPN, am I more Michael Redd or am I more T-Mac as a broadcaster?
No, you T-Mac, bro. You got good energy, too. I love your energy. Keep it up. You make me want to sit here and just talk all day. So when I don't feel the need to get up out of this chair and leave, you're doing a good job. So.
All right, there you go.
But because I have other plans, I got to go.
I love it. The great Tracy McGrady, Bonded by Ball. Go check out OBL, One's Basketball League. I think this is going to be a big game changer for the sport of basketball. Thank you so much, Tracy. Good luck with everything. Guys, check us out next time in the Vegas Huddle. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you next time.